I heard a little Mitch whoop.
Unmuting. We're
Hello.
live. Hello.
Hello.
I'm gonna tweet about this.
Hello.
Tweet about this moment.
I'm gonna tweet about this.
The world will hear about this.
I'm gonna use this Men in Black picture.
What channel was Captain Planet on? Was it
Ooh.
ABC?
ABC, wasn't it? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
You said I got Captain Planet villain vibes from where you're talking. I know you're doing Make a Tsunami, which is a Cheez TV thing more than anything.
Yeah.
/ Nickelodeon.
Yeah. But the it's funny, as I was doing this, I've done this a couple of times in my life. Like, I don't know if anyone else has ever had similar things, but like there's this thing from your past that you remember, but you don't know what it's called, and you can't therefore Google it. And obviously Googling what you're just describing doesn't make any sense. And there's two things I do this for. The first is a children's book. Well, children's book I use the term loosely. A YA book. And it was like a graphic novel-y type thing. And it was about these like cat people, and like this illustrator was the protagonist, and he drew these drawings of cat people and their land. Not furry cat people, like scary cat people. And then he got sucked in and he was in Catland. Never able to find that book again. But the reason I bring that up tonight is because there was this show that I used to watch on one of these channels, and the main thing that I remember is that there was some sort of like surfing on a hoverboard type mechanic. And I don't know what it is, because just if I Google that, it just shows me the Silver Surfer cartoon. That doesn't help me. And all I remember, I didn't even really like it that much, but it was on at the time when my mum would be finishing up looking after my younger brother and sister, and she would normally say, "Bianca, don't you have homework to do?" And I'd say, "No, my favourite show's still going, I can't." And she'd go, "Okay," because she was still kind of busy, so she wouldn't come and check and know. But that was how I got 2 shows for the price of 1 when I was a kid.
Sounds like Jack 2 so far.
Yeah. It could have been. It could have been.
You've just taken our VODs and just planting that in your childhood memories.
Yeah,
That's what's
yeah.
up.
Who knows if this was even a real show? Or maybe I just bumped my head too hard and I'm remembering it.
You know, Google lets you search for music now just by singing or whistling. Look at that
Really?
feature going. Yeah, as of I'm reading an article from October 16 of this year saying that.
We've needed this for a long time.
Excellent.
So who brought it out?
So this is Google.
Oh, Google.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's not
Because
just...
the way
it's-
the way that you'd have to do that is with the cloud, obviously. So I was asking because I was like, whoever this is has to have a partnership with some big cloud player.
Or
Yeah,
be a
right.
big, or
I'm
try to be
I'm
one.
gonna put
Yeah.
Google's blog post in the chat.
Yeah, nice. I think there was... Because Shazam only does it if it's the actual song, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I will say I've
Yeah.
used Shazam a couple of times, only a couple of times, and it's always been really quick to figure it out. It's never missed it, really, which I've always been pretty impressed by. I know once I used it on FBI radio, and I was not expecting it to know what song this was, and it did. So there you go.
Yeah, totally. Even the most anonymous, like chill lounge session music that's
Yeah.
just there for ambiance.
Yeah.
It'll just identify it. Yeah, it's pretty good that way.
Yeah.
I usually do my best to try to type in lyrics or find out lyrics if I can.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
listen to what they are, I should say.
I know my old man used to still has, I'm sure, this like encyclopedic knowledge of music from his era, that songs will just start playing and he'll know what they are instantly. The minute, like the first 2 seconds, he'll go, "Oh, that's this song by this person," for like, over like a 20-year period, and he'll just be able to name any song. Well, not any song, of course, but pretty much any song that ever came on. I've always been very jealous of that, and I wish that I had that sort of music knowledge, but I don't.
Yeah,
so.
the rest of us are just like, oh, it's a woman with hair.
I'm like, oh, it's the song by that guy. The voice is familiar, and he'll be like, it's this person, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to brag, but as a kid, we used to do that as a game, which is try to guess a song with hearing as little as possible.
Do you wish Spicks and Specs was still on so you could go on and demonstrate the skill?
Oh yeah.
I used to love watching Spicks and Specs. Occasionally there would be a a topic that I knew a little bit about, and I'd be like, oh, I've got a chance in this one, and they'd be like, let's talk about Eric Clapton songs, and at that point in my life I was like, I don't know, I can't help you.
My mum used to when they did that thing where they replaced lyrics from some book that they've been given. My mum used to do this and like really try earnestly to figure out what it was. It was quite fun.
I remember in the last round there was always a question about that was related to some current music, and there's always like an actual like music writing, or I can't even remember what the word is, some actual music theory question, and I was like, I know that I'm going to get these two questions right all the time.
I like how Alan Bro always finished by smiling at the camera. That was nice of him.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's doing well.
I had a very music-based family. They're all dead now. No, they're fine.
Yeah, that was the same. Like my parents were super into it, and I just remember I could never quite get to that same level of knowledge like what my dad had. So, and actually, it's funny to think about now. And my dad brought it up about how he wished he hadn't done this. But I remember having a garage sale when I was a kid, and all the vinyl records that were sold and given away because they were worthless. And we're in the age of the CD, baby, and we had CDs. And my dad was saying,
now the worms come back around.
Yeah, and he's like, man, I had some pretty good vinyls. I wish I'd never sold them. Wish I never got rid of them.
I bought one vinyl record from a massive St. Vincent de Paul, I think it was. It's 50 cents. It was Russell Simmons, actually. Is that his name, the exercise dude?
Yeah.
I
think so.
Richard Simmons.
Richard Simmons.
Yeah.
Russell
Gex's
Simmons
only talked about him so much.
Yeah, because the cover was really funny, and I had it hanging on my wall for a time when I was a teen. Anyway.
I like when he was on Letterman and his thing screwed up. Anyway, yeah.
Bianchi, you're presenting. I feel like you should.
We are. But first, we got a couple of things. Number one, have to acknowledge that we are broadcasting from the traditional lands of the Gadigal and Camaragal people of the Eora Nation, and pay our respects to elders past, present, and emerging. And the second thing we have to do is welcome everybody to Pokemon X and Y.
Which X and Y?
What did I say? I said.
Yeah.
Well, Pokemon is among the things we could be talking about today.
Well, welcome to Cheez TV X and Y.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheese
slips out. It just slips. It's just like muscle memory.
Whereas I have never, had to deal with that.
So on Cheez TV X and Y this week, we're talking about children's television programming in the late 90s to early and mid 2000s for children in Australia specifically. Now, most kids in our age bracket, and when I say kids, I mean of course adults, because we are adults now, I would take a stab and say hold very fond memories of the shows that they watched. And and of course everybody's going to say that, like, oh, I watched the best shows when I was a kid, but we kind of did back in our day. So looking at what the options that were available to us, and we had a broad range, and depending how your upbringing was too, you might have even had some of the pay TV channels. But even without the pay TV, even without the pay TV channels, which were Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, you had Cheez TV on Channel 10, the ABC Kids block in the afternoon, and Saturday Morning Disney, which were all extremely high quality programming blocks. Yeah,
and typically we had like a few hours to set aside to watch this, as children with nothing else to do.
Yeah, it wasn't. You didn't. These weren't. Yes, they weren't singular. This is the language that I've learned in my research. They're called programming blocks. So even though you knew that Pokemon was on at 7:10 or something, like Cheez TV ran from whatever time it ran till for 2.5 hours or whatever. So before we just get into it, because I've got a lot of shows to talk about and a lot of spicy hot takes to share, to borrow a term from our fearless leader Gladys Berejiklian's book, what's your numero uno if you had to pick one?
Can I just say, first of all, my thudding disinterest in state politics means I had no idea that was a Gladys Berejiklian thing, and I'm glad to have not known, frankly.
Let me tell you, it's just from a leaked transcript from her secret relationship.
Oh, okay, all right. I know that's a thing.
Yeah.
I've absorbed that much.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a catchphrase or anything.
No, it's not a catchphrase. It's just some of her pillow talk. So.
But damn, is she ramming home the sympathy angle? Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway. All right.
This is a politics chat.
Do you mean number one programming block / channel? Or
I'll go for both. So, what was your favorite out of those blocks? What was the most consistently fun to watch for you? And then, what would you, if you had to pick one, what would you pick to watch as your favorite?
Okay, because both the answers don't correlate.
Yeah.
Because number one is obviously Pokemon, which is so far ahead of anything else. It's unbelievable. So I'm not even going to talk about that anymore. But actually, it was actually Nickelodeon, because I had Nostar when I was a kid, which was very, very lucky to have that. And I watched a lot of Cartoon Network as well, but it was both of those, and Disney as well. It was those three were the main ones, but I'm pretty sure Nickelodeon took the lead. Like, there's a lot of original shows that were really good, but I don't know, they're not the ones that stick out to me. Like, watching Nickelodeon to watch like Yu-Gi-Oh, for example, those are the things that stick out to me.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even realize Yu-Gi-Oh was on Cheez TV. I only watched it on Nickelodeon as a kid.
Right. Yeah, and there's a lot of crossover in the things in the way I've presented them. I tried to put them with who I feel like most people would associate it with, but that's not going to be true for everybody, because not everybody watched it the same method.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Which is really interesting coming up, like seeing that ABC one.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ABC one is such an interesting mix, and it's like if I have to choose my favorite block / channel, like I gravitate towards, rather than ABC, I gravitate towards something with a host and with like interstitial segments and basically things that made that 3-hour block feel like a program in and of itself. So Saturday Disney was the one I tended to watch most often of those. It just had a nice vibe, and I like that Shelley Craft is still around. I'm happy for her, you know. She's
thriving.
She's doing well.
Yeah,
the block is paying her handsomely.
I watched Saturday Disney, but I don't remember the blocks that vividly.
For me, it's definitely my favorite block was Saturday Morning Disney, because that's the one I remember specifically wanting to watch, because I'd get to it later, but there was a special segment that I really liked. So but definitely, I think I can't really go past Pokemon. But if I was, I think I would actually say Fairly Odd Parents, which I fucking loved that show. And I know I had siblings that were quite younger, so I got to watch it for a lot longer. I had an excuse to, because they liked it, and it was always on, even though I was probably a bit old to want to watch it just by myself.
Sure.
But yeah, I've friggin' loved that one. And it's funny too, because I've watched so much of it, I recognise a lot of the voice actors that were on it, because there were a lot of very prolific voice actors on that show. That's where I know them from. Now, before I move on, Mitch is waiting very patiently to say something. What do you...
Can we talk about Fox Kids? That's the number one.
Fox Kids.
Fox Kids is the best.
Fox Kids.
That's the channel I'm thinking of. Yeah,
that's the one. So I had that on the list, and then I took it off because I didn't watch enough of it to I didn't watch enough of it to really know.
Well, somebody did.
Somebody did. I didn't watch enough of it to put up what was on there and talk about it. But I do remember it existing. So
yeah. Can I just mention my number one show before you move on? Because it is.
Oh yeah, sorry. I cut over. Totally cut over you.
That's all right. It could kind of act as a segue into the thing you're going to talk about next. As far as shows, I loved the stuff that ABC found, because it wasn't just Nickelodeon, but it was from all these different countries and all these other different channels. And the thing that I feel the most fondness for is Trapdoor, which is a very a short claymation show that would just it almost felt like they were using it to plug gaps in between other bigger shows. But
oh yes, no, I know the one now.
Yeah,
sorry.
The Trapdoor.
Yeah,
starring Burke.
Yeah,
the little blue man who was just to feed a man upstairs in a dank castle, and his friends are a talking skull and a weird little spider. It had a nice sense of style. It was spooky without being actually scary. It was like classic kind of entry-level horror imagery. And like I said, it was short, and it didn't really matter that you had to watch it in a serialized order. It was just there always. And so That's the one I like the most.
Nice.
And it had such a UK perspective as well. The Burke had such a strong Yorkie accent. Or, yeah, I think it's Yorkshire. Anyway.
Love
anything stop motion and clay animated like freaked me out. Like around this era specifically.
What was that one with the birds and the limpets? Rocco or something? Rocco? And there were these birds and they were by the sea on the rocks and there were limpets. I'm just going to start throwing out these things. It was Australian, I'm almost certain. And
Rocky
that
and
was
the Dodos?
Yeah, that one.
There you go.
There we go.
Rocky and the Dodos.
I should have put that one in. This is the problem too, is I was like, remember that one? And I couldn't figure out, and I was like, I'll move on.
Oh, I do. This lead bird with the orange beak, I don't like him. Don't like him one bit.
Yeah, that has got the claymation, like, vibe to it. I know the limpets scared me a lot, but also the fucking Teletubbies scared me, so, you know. Anyway, I'll start talking, so, sorry, unless anyone...
Oh, very quickly, I'll start adding in pictures when you bring them up.
Oh, yeah, cool. So yeah, I just put them in a bit of a random order, but I did save Cheez TV for last because that's obviously the capstone of this one here. So I started with the ABC, and the thing that that stuck out to me most about the ABC that I look back on is how many Australian shows there were, because obviously Australian national broadcaster, it's not going to be Australian shit on Nickelodeon or anything like that. But as you're saying, Dom, like consistently good international shows, not just from America, but from all places. Canada. Film Canada. Got that logo burned into my brain from a very early age.
No ads too. I think a lot of its vibe comes from just not having any ads at all.
Yeah.
It took me a second, and then the image of the Film Canada logo just appeared before my eyes. I was like, oh yeah. That little thing in the corner.
Yeah, a lot of French Canadian shows have been pumped out over the years. Was it a good time slot in the afternoons? I know it was the perfect time to get home from school and just watch a few shows before it was time to do homework or have dinner or whatever. So, no host, just our ABC. It was just shows, which was not like the Saturday Morning Disney and Cheez TV were good because of the hosts, and this was good because there were no hosts. No distractions.
It had cool idents saying like, "Hey, ABC, woo," like.
Little like channel promos and stuff like that. For sure.
Yeah, I had that. So.
Now ABC Kid has its own kids channel these days, which I think has been around for like 10 years or like longer than that.
Yeah. And I mean, I can't. The apple, the bee, and the carrot logo is a classic. It is. I remember that vividly. And it's funny though, the one thing about actually I'll go to the next slide first, because this is my curated selection of shows from the ABC that I remember and that I associate with watching on the ABC.
Where's Jeannie from Down Under? Is what I'm going to say first.
I don't know who that is, so I'm sorry.
Don't worry about it.
Now, I've put a little gold star next to the shows that were actually made in Australia, of which most of these are. And there were bloody good ones too. And a nice variety too. Like there were obviously like more kids cartoony shows versus like Blue Water High. Look at those rippling young bodies, clearly marketed for people slightly older. So
yeah, I didn't watch any of those.
Did you watch any of these ones on screen?
Oh no, I mean like the live action,
none of Blue Water High or anything like that.
Tween sort of.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I feel like Disney stunted me in general, and so anything that wasn't animated, I just couldn't digest properly. So Ship to Shore, I still could not tell you what that was about. Kids on a submarine. I don't know.
Our Real Monsters, Wild Thornberrys, and Cat Dog were all Nickelodeon shows as well. So I associate all of those with Nickelodeon. But I did like all of those. I would sit down and watch an episode of those if it came on Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say any of them are my top tier, but definitely watch the app. Definitely watch it.
Yeah. And it's funny too because I know there are a lot more on the ABC, but I really struggled to identify them because especially with the cartoons, they would get trimmed down to really quite short ones, and sometimes they'd only play one of the episodes instead of both of the episodes in a 30-minute show.
Right,
So sometimes, like, I can picture, like, again, I'm not just going to start describing shows because no one wants to play fucking charades with me or something.
Sure.
But we'll do that another episode then. Where I can picture the show, but I can't quite remember enough details to figure out what it was called. And I didn't want to spend my entire time randomly Googling shows that I may or may not find and might or might not even be interesting enough to talk about. So,
Fair.
You're very into Rocko's Modern Life. Yeah, that one was
Is that on ABC?
that one, and it was. And so was Courage the Cowardly Dog, I'm pretty sure was on ABC. If not, maybe I'm getting mixed up. But
because that's also Nickelodeon. Oh, no, that's Cartoon Network.
It is Cartoon Network.
Yeah. Definitely.
You're about to correct me there. I'm glad I swooped in and got
No, I was genuinely. I'm gonna wait until to see if you recognize. I promise.
But yeah, the Courage the Cowardly Dog scared me a little bit. That was too scary. Too scary for me.
Pretty old how he just lives with two like grandparents basically. Like, there's no kid his age to like hang out with. From memory anyway.
Yeah, no, there isn't. There isn't.
Something kind of lonely about that,
But doesn't that mean you watching the show, you yourself become more courageous as you watch it?
I see.
In the same way that in theory playing scary games should make you less scared of games, but it's the opposite for me. Always the good ones. I liked Angry Beaver. Oh, we'll talk about it with Nickelodeon. Yeah. That's what I was saying. There's a lot of overlap in here. It just depends where you watched it as to what you think you sort of associate with it.
And I liked Little Elvis as well.
Yeah, Little Elvis was really great. Does anyone remember Jeopardy? Yeah, Bjort Sampson was just talking about Jeopardy as well. I don't remember that one though. Do you guys know Jeopardy?
Yes.
Wait, what is Jeopardy?
Jeopardy is one about a bunch of Scottish school kids who go trekking in the bush, and then weird shit happens involving aliens, and one of them says, "We're lost, David," and that's burned in my memory forever. Because indeed they are lost, and one of them's called David.
Wow, I do not remember that at all. That's so weird.
And and it's such a perfect kind of grey area in everyone's memory, because obviously there's a much more popular Jeopardy. So people are like, wait, what?
It's like Countdown.
Oh yeah.
Has there ever been an Australian Jeopardy?
It was called Sale of the Century.
Oh, is that the same
Wait,
thing?
was that the same thing? No, that was different. That one was that was different. That was something else, actually.
I'm pretty sure they did have a stab at an Australian version of Jeopardy. It just did not go for 36 years like the actual one has been doing with Alex Trebek.
Also, a bit of a callback, but did Shelley Craft host Australia's Funniest Home Videos for a bit?
Did who, sorry?
Shelley Craft?
Yeah, I reckon she did.
Sounds right, yeah.
Yeah. Fuck, that was a good... Do you know, I wonder why I spend so much time in my life watching fucking YouTube compilations of TikToks and Vines and shits, because that's what Funniest Home Videos set me up for. Get entertained by those.
Australia, this is you.
It's actually the exact same.
Yeah.
And it was.
My younger sister couldn't... She was too little when we were all watching it, because I'm 8 years older than her, so she was too little to, like... grasp what was going on when we were all watching it. She was still like a toddler, but she did know that people would fall down, and so the show was called Girl Fall Down to her. So
it's like how our little cousin would only call Toy Story Woody and Woody 2.
That's great.
Woody's in it.
Like, if I think of Australia's Funniest Home Videos, like burned into my brain is the image of
the century.
Is the image of the time. Like the year in the bottom, and it's saying like 95 or something like that.
Yeah, from those VHS tapes. Yeah.
A crazy time where portable video cameras had just become accessible to consumers. So you get a lot of weird shit, which is how you get all the shit that happened that they watch on Best of the Worst, like We Of the Worst in Red Letter Media. Anyway.
Yeah.
I'll
just say too. At that point, they put the sound effects over the top of everything. Like when somebody fell over, they did a little whoa noise when somebody falls over, and like the boing noise when somebody like bounced on something.
But not without like 10 seconds of like, "Hey Dad, I got myself a new skateboard," and just a whole skit. But
they've had to dub over. Yep.
Yeah.
these days it's like blown out music.
some vague trap music happening in the background.
Yeah.
Or like just Pitbull or something, just anything you can dance to.
Yeah.
Anything that's a TikTok, man. What's the next channel?
The next channel we're going to talk about. Well, before we talk about that, I have to say, why the fuck doesn't anybody remember Silver Sun? Now, Dom May, that is. I saw you in chat. I saw you said that you're invested in the spaceship show. I see you. I feel you. Okay, because you and I, birds of a feather. No one else seems to fucking know about this show. Do you know about Silver Sun, guys, on the call?
We've definitely talked about this at least 3 times.
I've seen the thing
because I've brought it up and I'm so invested in this show.
I have a very vague memory of watching it at least once.
Watching the intro sequence, like you're about to play on the stream, I did like a little bell in my head just rang very, very faintly.
It was on. It was on at like 4:30 time on the ABC. So it was like literally when I would come home from school, if I turned it on, I could watch it. So I got in the habit of watching it, but nobody else at school watched it except for this one kid I wasn't even friends with, and I was like, didn't want to even talk to them. So
The Silver Sun loser.
The Silver Sun fucking loser. I was about to admit to liking this nerd show for nerds. There's a slime monster in the show, and I just have to say, Parallax, which is the company that produced it when I was Googling this, they've posted... Parallax. They've posted all of the episodes on YouTube, so you can go and watch it. I'm going to find a link to the slime monster episode and put that in. There's no context really required. It's a slime monster episode. It's really funny. It's not funny. It was kind of like weird at the time because it's like an alien slime monster, but anyway.
What if like the band Silver Sun pickups are named after it? Just
That
as
would be
random Aussie
great.
sci-fi show.
Yeah, that would be great. Because if you search Silver Sun, you'll get a lot of Silver Sun pickup results and not a lot of Silver Sun show results.
Yeah, it's like how people think. It's like how people think that UK artist King Creole, he's named himself after the villain in Donkey Kong, King K. Rool. But it's an Elvis.
Not quite. Not quite.
No.
I feel very
You wish.
I googled Silver Sun and then Silver Sun pickups came on and I was like, oh, I might listen to Silver Sun pickups.
Okay, so I looked this up while you're talking. It's not named after the show. God damn it. Foiled again. The Silver Sun legacy does not live on. I don't know how this is going to work, if you're going to want to watch it on stream or if you're going to just time the playing of
just time it. Like count it down.
3, 2, 1, go. Go.
All right, well, I have to click play to load it, and I'll start. All right.
I've already done that.
Okay.
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Okay. 3, 2, 1.
Star Runner leaves on its 19-year journey to the new world. On board, an elite young crew and 550 settlers frozen in suspended animation.
Explore new worlds.
Did they have to get the most Orca fucking person in the world to do the narration? Cleopatra Coleman, that's a sick name.
I know, right?
These are the adventures of the Starship Enterprise.
I'm Angus McLaren.
I'm Angus McLaren.
I'm Orpheus Pledger. Are these character names or...
No, these are the names of the actresses and actors.
That's... Orpheus, Cleopatra, Morpheus.
That one guy at the end, his name was Teague, which I thought was only a surname, but is apparently a first name as well. No. Anyway, well, I wish more people had watched Silver Sun so that I had people had frame of references for when I want to talk about it.
Hey, I enjoyed that theme song. I truly do.
It's a banger.
It's got a real Vanessa Amorosi vibe, you know?
Yeah,
After
for sure.
Review, Bianca.
Yes, that's what we can do next. Yes.
That'd be really good. I really want to do that.
Yeah. You know, watch the show, but you remember the intro? Okay. I'm glad that at least one piece of this piece of media has stood the test of time.
Is it episodic? Is it like an anthology? So, well, obviously it's not an anthology, but
there's only I think there's only 2 seasons, or maybe even 1.5 or something. There's not many episodes. It didn't last long.
So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so it does, but it does end on a little bit of a cliffhanger because the plot does progress as time goes on. Including, oh no, we'll get to that. We're going to do it after review. I've already spoiled the slime monster, so.
Wait, so it's... Try and think of a pun on Silver Sun in watching it. I'll come back to me.
Yeah, all right, we'll come. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. If there's nothing else on the ABC, then we can start talking about Saturday Disney.
Yes.
I mean, there's more on the ABC, but we can move on.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say
always...
on any of these topics, we could probably just have spent the entire episode talking about it. But
we didn't even talk about the ferals. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that was one where there's a lot of shows on that list too that we had on the short list. But I was looking at it and I was like, I didn't really watch enough of this show to warrant it taking a place, at least for me, putting it together over other things. Like Angela Anaconda was in there. I watched a couple of episodes, but I really fucking hated one of the characters on it with her annoying voice. So for that reason,
it was Anaconda.
No, it was the French girl that she hated.
Ninny Poo.
Ninny Poo. Yeah, I despised that, and yeah,
yeah,
they did all have very annoying voices. So
yeah.
The wrestling term for that is "go away heat."
Go away heat. I love that. I'm gonna use that.
Okay.
It's where they're getting booed not because they dislike the character, but because they don't want to see it anymore. Like they're not invested in. It's not like a character like Joffrey Baratheon, where you're like,
no, I
you
hate
don't want
this
him
guy.
gone from the show. Like it's satisfying to see him die, but he's great for the show.
Yeah.
But as opposed to a character you just don't want to see at all.
Just want to mention Angela Anaconda was originally had an episode released as an opening short for Digimon the movie.
Yes, I definitely have sat through that short multiple times while watching the Digimon movie as a child. ABC website had some cool Flash games. So I don't know if you were watching, Reese, at the time when we were contemplating doing Flash game streams, because we've talked about it. I don't remember when, but just about the treasure trove of Flash games that existed, like Miniclip and Newgrounds and all of those sorts of addictinggames.com. There were so many games and so many dodgy websites.
So many viruses.
All right. So Saturday Disney, it's the original Disney Plus, dare I say. I really, really, really liked this one because I loved most of the shows. I don't think I really particularly disliked any of the shows, whereas in the other programming blocks, I definitely had my pet peeves that I really didn't like to watch, like Angela Anaconda. And but I felt like on Saturday Disney, everything was good. And they had the Letter of the Week competition. And basically every week they would show off, people would send in shit to their mailbox and they would pick the best one or something. And it was a drawing. Sometimes people did like projects and stuff and they would send them in and they would win a prize for Letter of the Week. And the prize was always fucking like those fucking really good Faber-Castell texters, you know, the ones, those really nice ones, and like coloring pencils and shit, and like Mickey Mouse themed stuff, because of course it was Disney. Really, really fucking cool prizes that I always wanted to win. I desperately wanted to be on it, but I didn't win. Unlike somebody who did get something out of this whole endeavor.
Yeah. I put this in. Like I distinctly remember sending in a drawing up. I want to say Goofy. I don't know. Nothing really prompted it. I wasn't really tapping into the zeitgeist, so fair enough that... Sorry? Oh, Kingdom Hearts? This is well before Kingdom Hearts, my friend. I don't think I'd even seen an ad for it. But, yeah, I got back, like, it was like a little cardboard card. It was like a bunch of the hosts and their signatures, and that was it. And I was just like, well, they got it. Was it on the show? I don't know. But yeah, later on, I won my PlayStation 2 from the Disney Adventures magazine, which... I like to believe was just of the same ilk, you know, but I did that by inventing an umbrella that opens automatically when it rains, like over a clothesline. That is, so like a clothesline, a heels hoist fitted with an umbrella. That's why they gave me a PS2. So that's the thing.
Only thing you ever won as a kid was a ton of Star Wars trading cards from K-Zone. K-Zone could have fit into this episode, now I think about it. That was of the same ilk. I'm about to get on my soapbox and talk about something that I won as a kid, but I don't know if... Are we okay with... Okay, cool. Fuck the Sydney Kings, firstly, and it's important for several reasons. Don't like basketball, never particularly have. I had to play basketball once at school sport. I was a very, 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 very short kid, like the shortest kid in my year, and we had to play basketball and I sucked at it, and we had to do drills. We had to get it in, and once you got it in, you could sit down, and fucking I was the last one trying to get it in, and I couldn't get it in, and everyone else was sitting down, and the teacher was like, Bianca, just sit down. So from that point on, I've despised basketball.
Fair enough.
For some reason... But sorry,
we're talking about like childhood inspirations and pet loves and fears. Like that's in the tapestry. You know, we got to mention it.
It is. Yeah. For some reason, me and my parents end up going to a Sydney Kings basketball match. I don't really know why. Not sure. And it's also important to note that my dad really wanted me to like basketball because he's fucking really tall and good at basketball, as good as basketball as a kid. So there was that added pressure as well. And I was just a small child that could not do basketball. Anyway, we're at the show. We're at the Sydney Kings match playing somebody. It's the halftime show, but somebody likes to come up and win a prize. Yep, you'll do.
Oh no!
Up I go to win a prize. Now, get the basketballs in the shopping trolleys. There's 3 of them. The closest one is an average prize, the middle one's a middle prize, and the end one is a really good prize. Now, they did make it quite easy for me, and I got them all. And they gave me multiple tries. I feel like they just wanted to give these prizes away. They obviously weren't valuable enough that there wasn't a car or something where it's actually worth holding on to and making it difficult. Mm-hmm. The first one was a Coca-Cola prize pack, and it had a bottle of Coke in it, and a Coca-Cola sticker, and an extra large Coca-Cola polo shirt. Which, again, extremely short child, was a pajama shirt for many years, and it never, ever, ever fit me. But I won it. Fine. Great. Second prize was, like, a stay at the Novotel, which I didn't care about, because, like, whatever. I'm pretty sure Mum and Dad just went and had a night at the Novotel. Fine. The final one was a Microsoft prize pack. That's what I remember. I don't know exactly what was in it, but it was a Microsoft prize pack, and I was hyped because I was like, maybe there'll be fucking Age of Empires in there. I don't know. Maybe there'll be, I don't know, a computer.
Buy some cereal,
I don't
Kid
know.
Bianca. Buy some cereal.
I know, yeah. I just thought I was going to get some good shit out of that Microsoft prize pack, and they said, we'll mail it to you. We'll get your address and we'll mail it to you. It never came, and I asked my dad if he came and he just put it on his computer because it was the only computer and I just didn't know it. And he's like, no, I've been ringing them. I don't know where it is. Like, they've said they've sent it, and they won't send another one because they've said they've sent it, but we didn't get it. It's gotten lost in the mail. From that point on, fuck the Sydney Kings because you screwed me over in my fucking Microsoft prize pack.
It's just a backpack, Bianca. It was just a backpack.
No, it was more.
I thought you were going to say it was like just like a license key for Word, and that's it.
At least I would have got it though. The unknown.
Yeah, the license key.
Someone's got my Microsoft prize pack, and I blame the Sydney Kings.
My license key.
Someone's got my copy of Word.
I need Word to type out letters, angry letters, so I can get Word.
All right. Anyway, that was a big segue, but we are talking about Saturday Disney. That's definitely still the topic.
I just want to briefly mention the Hercules show, which I liked a lot.
Yes. Well, let's go on to the next slide. We've looked at this one for long enough. Because I didn't put Hercules on here, but we can add it on here if you like.
It's the Hercules animated series based on the movie, the 90s movie.
Let's talk about
which then had a crossover with the Aladdin animated
Better
series.
Homes and Gardens.
No, we're not talking about Better Homes and Gardens.
I was on that.
So it's really important, and we got to talk about it now.
We'll come back to that later.
Yeah.
There's a few other ones. I remember watching the Jumanji cartoon. Does anyone know what channel that was on?
That was on. That was on. Oh, oops! Sorry, I just knocked that.
I thought it might be Saturday Morning Disney, but I'm not entirely sure.
I saw it in the list of all of the things that I was looking at. So, where was it? I reckon it might have been the ABC actually.
Anyway, we'll talk about these ones for now. Recess. I remember Recess being really cool.
Yeah. Recess was one of when I first watched it. I didn't really like it, but it definitely grew on me over time. And again, some of these are probably like Phineas and Ferb. I don't know if you guys watched that one at all.
Nah, missed the boat entirely.
Yeah, so this again, the benefit of having younger siblings. This was very fucking funny. I'll just say, extremely funny. I really, really, really liked it. And then this was another one, Dave the Barbarian, which is just Conan the Barbarian, but Dave, I guess. And it was
that thing at the bottom.
Yeah, that's this one here. So
I was gonna say, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, that's Dave the Barbarian, and he's talking sexy sword. You see, it's got lipstick on. So
is it a girl sword?
It's a girl sword. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. That was one that, you know, could have gone toe to toe in the battle off between Sonic's sword, Aegis Slash, and Dave the Barbarian's sword.
Anyone remember the degenerate known as Masupalami?
Whoa.
Oh God.
No.
The thing is that he has a long tail and he uses it for antics.
That's,
evil. Yeah.
Oh boy, that's really, really scary.
Yeah, I don't like any of that.
It's not like it's about the little yellow thing, not the weird gorilla with a pink shirt.
Oh, okay. I've never heard of Brandy and Mr. Whiskers either.
That was
I remember that vaguely, yeah.
Yeah, that was one that actually I really didn't like, but it was on a lot, so I just watched it because it was on, and I didn't have a choice. It did.
To be a kid with limited options, unlike today's youth, which is just fragment everything.
Yeah.
Just watch what they want, you know, rather than having to put up with.
Yeah.
To have to talk about Brandy and Mr. Whiskers 10 years later, they don't have to do that, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Dom's with me on Phineas and Ferb. This is the oldest child thing, Dom. I bet you. So we had an extended period where it was acceptable for us to still watch them.
I don't have any younger siblings, so yeah.
Yeah.
Recess and Kim Possible. I'm just thinking about it. I watched that on the Disney Channel, definitely, rather than Saturday morning Disney. I remember Kim Possible being really good as well, but I don't really remember much about it other than the characters' names.
I heard the ringtone, like Kim's ringtone, like in real life several times afterward. There's just something about it that got people.
Yeah, I had that, of course, because Kim Possible is my favourite show, definitely. Of this lot. Like of the later lot. Like I feel like there's the earlier half and the later half of the shows that I watched as a kid, and like Pokemon is the king overall and the king of the early half, but Kim Possible is definitely my favourite from the later half.
You watched the live action film?
No.
From last year.
No. That does no.
Yeah.
We don't. I don't know about that.
Yeah, it's from 2019, so let's not.
I've never
let's
known.
not even.
I don't know her. Kim Possible will be self-conscious about liking it. Everyone at your high school had that ringtone in 2010. Yeah, same. Exactly the same. And sorry, this one in the top corner, American Dragon, Jake Long. Did you guys watch that one?
I recognize it. I never watched it in like with close scrutiny. You know.
No.
All right, it's pretty fucking cool. He could turn into a dragon. So.
That's right. Yeah, I think I've read about it in Saturday Disney Adventures more than I actually watched it. It's just like, ooh, cool.
When I see it, is it the same as Ben 10? It reminds me of Ben 10, which I also don't really know what that is.
Ben 10 was one of my brother's favourites. Yeah, it's same sort of thing, except he only turns into one dragon, not 10. But yeah, same sort of concept.
Okay. I just watched the opening of Kim Possible just to remember if Kim Possible is Call Me Beat Me if you want to reach me or not.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Remember Jackie Chan Adventures that might show up later? It might.
It
might. We just don't know. But it
Brandon
might.
might want to do a whole presentation on it next week.
And with a stream of Jackie Chan Stuntmaster for PlayStation 1.
Perfect accompaniment.
I've played that.
Yeah.
It's got good music.
And your point to Dome about the Disney Channel that came on, those shows that you listed, don't worry, we'll get there. We'll get there. It's not great, but a kid that can turn into a dragon at will was bread and butter cool. Yeah. And he was also he was cool. He had a skateboard and he skated around the town. If you see from his facial expression,
his hair is green.
I'm not interested in
He's cool.
character.
He's cool.
Are
you interested?
Character who sucks.
All right. Do you remember Dragon Riders? They rode dragons. Was that? I think I do. Was that the one on the ABC that had the 3D cel shadedy looking animation? Or was that Release the Dragon or Enter the Dragon or something else?
Dragon
and there was
Riders for sure. It got a DS
yeah.
game. I remember.
Yeah, and they did races or something.
Yeah.
And there was a rival, and the rival's dad was like an evil person. That seems pretty tropey. That sounds about right. But yes, I do remember that one.
Not
Another one where
DreamWorks Dragons Riders of Berk.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it. It keeps coming up with like how to train a dragon.
Yeah.
Another victim of my brain fog when it comes to these sort of shows. Like, remember that dragon show? Luckily, you guys remember the names of them.
Let's narrow it down. Yes.
Yeah. So yes, just some more quick points on Kim Possible because it was my favorite of that lot. Banger theme song, cool female character. It definitely was the first of the shows that had like genuinely funny, or at least funnier and smarter jokes than what I had experienced up to that point. There was Rufus the Naked Mole Rat. That was cool and unique.
Yep.
The villains were really fun. Shigo was like the bad timeline Kim Possible, who I really liked. She had cool green magic powers. And
gay.
Extremely gay. You know, it's funny, I think back about some of the shows that I watched, and it's a wonder I'm not a queer furry, honestly, the way that all the things that I liked, but there you go. Then you added in Bender plays the villain, and it's funny, I watched a clip of Kim Possible, and the guy was talking, and I was like, fuck, this guy's voice is familiar, where do I know it from? And there, of course, that's who it was.
Yeah, same guy, John DiMaggio.
Yeah.
His most iconic role is Waka. Like,
yes, that's right. Back around. Thank you.
Yeah.
And Kamari.
Yeah. And yeah, the ringtone. Iconic. And plus, she had a cool computer. I love that she had the fucking computer nerd hacker man backup. Loved that. Like, they were out there doing fucking kung fu, and then she'd call him in and be like, wait, hack the door. And he'd be like, it's done. It was great.
Yeah. So there's an episode where he, like, gets mortally wounded or breaks his arm or something, right? Like, they had to, like, it's just an easy opportunity for drama.
Yeah. Something
it had to have happened.
You
can't just sit in that bedroom forever.
No, it has to be some sort of mortal peril applied to him at some point.
Absolutely.
Remember being there a song about the naked roll rat? The words are really hard.
About Kim and Ron hooking up.
Yeah, I fuck that. I don't. No, thank you.
Yeah, that happened right at the end, didn't it?
It did happen right at the end, and I'm not here for it.
Yeah, it's like Lizzie McGuire and Gordo hooking up.
No, wrong. Very,
like
very
Ron
wrong
and
bad. Wrong and bad. Sorry, you go, Brendan.
Oh, I was going to say something about the start of the next slide.
Oh, okay, that's good, because that's exactly where I was going to go. So let's go to the next slide, and you can say your thing.
Okay. Nickelodeon Cartoon Network were for bougie kids? Absolutely, because if you had All-Star, then you lived in the country, like me, or if you lived in the big smoke.
Like me.
I had Optus TV, but yeah, okay.
I definitely did not grow up in a bougie household. However, I did have All-Star. So when I was a kid, I think this was 98 to 99, I think we won it, a holiday to America, which was really fun. Lots of great formative memories as a kid going to Disneyland. At the end of the trip, like, our flight was overbooked, and they were offering people like a bunch of money and a couple of extra nights in a hotel at Disneyland if you got the next flight. And my parents were trying to convince me and my sister, like, oh yeah, we'll just stay here and get all this money. But we were really young, and we were really homesick, and we were like losing our shit. We're like, we really just want to go home. And my parents were like, all right, well, if you agree to let us
stop losing your shit.
Yeah. If you stop losing your shit and allow us to stay a few more days, we'll let you have All-Star. And they were like, and we agreed to that. And then something happened, and we ended up getting a seat on the flight anyway. So it was a lose-lose situation for my parents. They're very loving and very wonderful people, and got us All-Star anyway. So that was nice.
That's nice. And I'll just say,
so that's why I had it.
Nice. I'll just say, I said for bougie kids, like, I'm very conscious that I had an extremely privileged upbringing, and like, it seemed very normal for me and most of my friends from school to have Foxtel, but I know that wasn't for everybody, so I was really conscious that not everybody had it.
Oh, yeah. No, a lot of people came over to watch it All-Star in my house.
This is a bit random. Do either of you remember a McDonald's ad in Australia where it's like it's a bunch of little segments involving like ordinary families and kids and whatnot? And at one point, there's an adult coach talking to a bunch of, like, I guess 8-year-old boys, going, "Okay, guys, what have we got to do today?" And one of the kids goes, "Go to McDonald's," and they all go, "Yeah!" And the guy's just like, "No."
I do not remember that ad, but that sounds delightful.
It's just had a flash memory of that just from Brendan's story.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about Aussie ads. Like retro ads.
Yeah, Aussie ads for sure.
Those 4X blokes were a canny bunch.
Oh, I don't know if I actually if I ironically like those ads or if I genuinely like those ads. Because the thing with the fucking, that's the one with the bear, right? The polar bear?
No, that's Bundaberg. I'm talking about 4X,
okay.
which is just a bunch of blokes being blokes, you know?
Right, okay.
So good.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
good.
And they've barely shifted with the times.
I love the culture.
Thriving.
All right. So I'm of the opinion that probably Nickelodeon Cartoon Network had some of the best shows. Probably not like they were sprinkled amongst the offerings, but there were some really, really good shows on these two channels. I smashed them together, and then about halfway through making the next slide, I was like, I possibly should have split them because there's a lot actually, and I've skipped a lot. So feel free to add more if there's one that you really want to talk about that's missing, because this is of course curated by me.
Yeah, Cartoon Network had Toonami, so Cartoon Network had fucking Evangelion on it. I just want to put that out there just to reinforce what you're saying in terms of having some really good stuff on there.
Yeah.
I have a vivid memory of watching, like, being up really late, like 12 o'clock. I think it's because Mum and Dad let us watch fucking Monday Night Raw in the late 90s when we were kids, and Jerry Springer and shit like that. Insanely inappropriate, but fuck yeah, Mum and Dad.
Hell
Go
yeah.
off. But sorry, anyway, I forgot what I was talking about.
Watching Toonami late at night.
Yeah, I have a really vivid memory of Evangelion coming on. And I know it was Evangelion because I remember looking at the title and being like, what the fuck does this say? And some fucked up thing happening on the screen, and then being like, my parents being like, well, this
Time
is
to go to bed.
This is one of those Japanese cartoons I've heard so much about in the late 90s.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Just real quick, Mitch, you have something to say?
Yeah, Disney Channel.
Uh-huh.
You're missing The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody.
No, I get there, don't worry.
Okay. Please talk about the show.
Moving on.
We're getting there. James loves Danny Phantom. I liked Danny. So Danny Phantom, in case you couldn't tell, is this one up here. This weird guy with the white hair, because he's a phantom, and it had also a banger theme song. So good. Same guy as who made Fairly Odd Parents, which was my favorite.
Oh.
Butch Hartman.
Butch Hartman, yeah. And when I went to Google him to see if he made anything else, not really. And apparently, just thinks that, like, you know, you can cure mental illness by praying hard. So that was cool. It was cool to find out.
Have you watched Gus Johnson's video about Butch Hartman?
No, I haven't.
Well, I'll link it to you.
All right, yeah, please do. And yeah, some of the other ones.
Not great.
Yeah, not great. I got the sense that I was looking at his Wikipedia page. I was like, oh, doesn't look great.
Is he? Yeah. So sorry. This is the creator of Denny.
Denny and Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, I wonder if he's got a patch on Doug Tenapel, who made Ren and Stimpy. That guy is fucked, like really badly fucked. He's got some awful opinions.
There's also the Defunctland video about Nickelodeon, the Nickelodeon Hotel. Really, really interesting. Oh, that and Legends of the Hidden Temple. Recommend to watch those two, and it gives you a really good idea about like the history of Nickelodeon, that sort of thing. Was something I was going to bring up ages ago when we were talking about how you guys liked the idea of like the conjoining segments in between TV shows. They had that on Nickelodeon, but the idea with Nickelodeon was that the vibe was supposed to be like it was a channel run by kids, like run by kids for kids. The idea that it was like actual kids back, like actually programming everything and that sort of thing. I think that's a really interesting idea.
Yeah, for sure. And so you've added in Samurai Jack. This was one where I was tempted to put it up, even though I never really watched it, just because I know lots of people did. But then in the end, I was like, I didn't watch it. I can't put it on my slide. But yes.
Created by Gendy Tarkovsky, who went on to find amazing success with Hotel Transylvania.
Oh,
that movie.
Oh, well. Yeah, the
there
three
you
of them.
go.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
You like the station IDs on Cartoon Network where they had... Yeah, I fucking loved all of the things about Cartoon Network. And then they were just like going around in their real lives. That was awesome. I really, really liked that.
How well has Johnny Bravo aged?
Poorly.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, again, this is one where I put this and Ed, Ed and Eddie. I put those two on because I feel like they're sort of iconic cartoons from when we were younger, but I don't actually particularly like either of them. I never watched Johnny Bravo, but my brother liked Ed, Edd and Eddy, and I'll get to this on the next slide, but I hated how fucking stupid they all were. Like, it really sounds really snobby, but all of them are really fucking dumb, and I've found it very intensely frustrating to watch these stupid idiots have stupid idiot problems from being dumb.
I love the clip of Dragon Ball Super that changes out all the sound effects for Ed, Edd and Eddy sound effects. It makes me realize, like, Ed, Edd and Eddy had some really fucking weird sound design, and I appreciate that much. I'll have to find it and put it in the chat.
I also just wanted to quickly mention Angry Beavers as well. That was one of my top tier faves.
Oh, yes. Yeah, for sure. That was another one. When I was looking through, there were so many, and I was like, I said, I was curating it for what I remember. So I'm definitely missing stuff for sure.
But it's also funny. When I was a kid, I never even considered that Nickelodeon and Disney were sort of like competitors. Well, not sort of, they were absolutely competitors. And once SpongeBob came out, they sort of found like the Nickelodeon's Mickey Mouse. Like, you don't associate Nickelodeon and SpongeBob as closely as Mickey Mouse and Disney, but as the flagship, because previously it was Rugrats.
Which I didn't put on here again because that was one where it was a bridge too far. I really didn't like Rugrats, so couldn't put it on here.
The history behind a Rugrats is really interesting as well. Anyway.
I have to look into that. SpongeBob kind of saved Nickelodeon. I'd be interested to find out more about that. I didn't really watch much SpongeBob. Just little bits and pieces here there. When it was on, I didn't like go out of my way to watch it. So
yeah, I did. Good shit.
This one here, this is one where I sort of associate it with the later half, so maybe you guys didn't watch it, which is The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, which is this one here.
I do remember that one, yeah.
Yeah.
Never really watched it though, but I remember seeing it.
Yeah, that one was really fun. I really liked that one. And then this one, I know we've definitely talked about this on stream before, but Codename Kids Next Door, mainly because they had an awesome
good flash game.
Good flash game. Very good flash game. Yeah.
I remember there being a flash game. I can't remember what it entailed.
I remember you had to go around the hideout and you could platform up, down on the treehouse or something. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, I remember that too, even though how nondescript that is. But
SpongeBob, the first few seasons are truly iconic. It was a good Dexter flash game. Oh, yeah, so pretty much anything that was on Cartoon Network had a good flash game. I feel like that's a very safe assumption because Cartoon Network had fucking good flash games. As we talked about when we were talking about, was it Cartoon Hotel something?
The vacation thing. Yeah,
Cartoon Vacation. Yeah, we talked about that one before. They clearly put a lot of effort into it, or maybe not a lot of effort, given that they were just flash games. So I don't know how hard they were to make.
Someone slaved away on them.
Someone absolutely slaved away on them.
Made that money.
Yeah.
Landed that contract.
Are there any other ones from the Nickelodeon / Cartoon Network block? Programming blocks that I've missed that is burning and if someone wants to...
No.
All right.
Not that jumping to my mind, no.
Cool. Like I said, there's a lot to cram in. Definitely I really liked Fairly Odd Parents and Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy. But this is the thing, I never really liked SpongeBob. Like, I watched it, but I thought SpongeBob was very silly.
Get out of this house.
Did not like SpongeBob that much, but I watched him. And yeah, playing weird movies. This one, I know you added this one in TV, so I'm keen. What do you mean by which weird movies they played?
Tom and Jerry, the movie where they talk. Batman Beyond, Return of the Joker, which I think is pretty good actually. But you can just watch it on YouTube legally now. Like, it's provided by them. Just stuff like that, straight to video shit.
Right.
Tweety Bird World Tour, the kind of thing. Yeah, it's just the kind of thing you would not watch under any other circumstances.
Yeah, for sure.
And I appreciate that. I don't know, something, and they really like advertise the shit out of them every time they played them. So
yeah,
I remember that.
I just remembered Nickelodeon, Kenan and Kel, and all that. And I used to really like those shows.
Oh yeah.
I think I watched the Amanda Show as well.
Yeah, so I might even still be, no, I deleted it. I put the Amanda Show on there, and then I decided I'll stick mostly to cartoons for this point, and then I'll get onto the live action stuff later.
So, well, for another
Bring on the dancing lobsters.
Bring in the dancing lobsters.
I also want to go on a tangent about Nicktoon Racing, but we'll just stream it, and then we can do it. because I played that a lot as well.
We'll get a virtual machine. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said Batman Beyond was cool. Batman Beyond was so fucking cool. And Invader Zim, I never watched that one. Everything, don't get it, don't understand. Sorry.
It's like a good 10 seconds in the Batman Beyond theme song where they just suddenly go inside a nightclub and it's like, ooh, ooh. And like, it's just kind of trippy and awesome. And then, as a kid, you're like, whoa, it's the Jack 2 effect.
I can't wait to go to a nightclub.
Yeah.
Nightclubs are cool.
And drink pop fizz and dance with my friends.
All right. Now, save the best for last, arguably. Or rather, we've saved the core subject matter, which was Channel 10 and Cheez TV. I have a lot to say about Channel 10, but this is not what that's about. This isn't the show about how does Bianca feel about Channel 10. We're just here to talk about kids' TV shows from when we were kids. So we'll do that. And it's funny, I put this in, I think it's more apt to put this in front of the Cartoon Network slide, given what we ended up talking about. But when I was looking back at the sorts of shows that Channel 10 had, especially when compared to ABC and Channel 7, there was a bit of a common theme that I noticed that definitely I feel like was a strategy to differentiate themselves from what Channel 7 on Saturday morning Disney and ABC had to offer. And you can summarize it in just one very short YouTube clip. I'm sure you can probably tell what the clip is from the thumbnail, so I'm just going to play it on stream real quick.
What's with these guys? It's like one of my Japanese animes.
Just like one of my Japanese animes, because there were a lot of Japanese animes that made it onto Cheez TV, comparative to specifically the other free-to-air channels. Definitely not compared to, obviously, Cartoon Network. They had fucking Evangelion on. Like, obviously we're very ahead of the curve on that one. So, So yeah, there's, as I was putting this slide together, between Pokemon, Digimon, Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball Z, and Yu-Gi-Oh! All being on Cheez TV, and I know that these were all on other things as well, but I remember these being on Cheez TV. So that was why I sort of was that sticks out to me. I'm not sure if any of you guys feel the same way, or if that's just like how I'm remembering it.
First time I watched SpongeBob was Cheez TV, and it was like it was literally the pilot that I saw was the first episode I saw, and that was like a very it felt almost curated, that introduction, because I love early SpongeBob. It's like when the internet started memeing it into oblivion, I was like, oh, finally, about time, you know.
Yeah, no, I do as well. There's a lot of fucking really funny shit in SpongeBob. Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z definitely watched on Cheez TV. Most of these I watched, and Digimon, but yeah, Jackie Chan Adventures and Yu-Gi-Oh! I watched on Nickelodeon, I believe.
Fair enough. And I'm assuming I'm the only one of the three of us that watched this. That watched H2O Just Add Water.
Yeah, I had no sisters, so
yeah.
No dice.
What a fucking great show! What one to launch Rebecca What's Her Name's career?
Rebecca What's Her Name?
Rebecca. She was in the Rebecca Holmes or something. She was on the Vampire Diaries.
Okay.
There you go. Other, I just remember, because I remember she became very popular on because she was on the Vampire Diaries, and then some other things, and I remember being like, I remember you were a mermaid on Channel 10.
I see you.
Yeah. Totally Spies. Yeah, Totally Spies was a victim of not enough screen space. Totally Spies, and also, again, with the H2O Just Add Water, I feel like I was possibly the only one of the three of us that watched it, so I didn't want to comment too closely.
You've dedicated a lot of screen space to Yu-Gi-Oh! I gotta say.
Well, it's mainly because look at this fucking art. Like, I hadn't seen this before. Sorry, Totally Spies was good. I fucking loved it.
Yeah, this art for Yu-Gi-Oh! That's the I think that's for the actual manga itself.
Right, okay, yep. Makes sense.
As you can see, Jump, that's a shonen jump.
Makes sense.
My sister used to wake up earlier than me when I was a kid and take Sailor Moon for me to watch afterwards, which is very nice of her.
Yep.
That's nice.
But yeah, Channel 10, it still markets itself as the youth network. They don't drive that home really enough, but at the time they were definitely going for that, which is probably associated with all these good cartoons they got imported somehow.
Yeah. And you're noticing a lack of rocket power on this slide, mate, there's not enough. Yeah, there's not enough screen space for all of the things that I wanted to show, and I really didn't want to have to do multiple slides because that lessens the impact. So,
for sure.
Where's Cardcaptor Sakura? No. No is the answer. No. Cardcaptors does not belong here. Not in this house.
I banish you.
No, there'll be no capturing of cards.
Rings a bell. Oh.
It got remade. It got remade, I'll just say. Cardcaptor Sakurai got remade. And I remember when I was watching something on fucking Crunchyroll recently, and I just kept getting assaulted at every turn with these fucking ads for the new Cardcaptor show, and I was like, it's making me want to watch it less. So
something tells me this is a magical girl anime.
Oh, you better believe it's a magical girl anime.
Yeah.
One of those magical girl animes I've heard so much about on the internet.
Yep.
Plenty of those.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed.
I also sneakily put Totally Wild on here because I really wanted to put H2O Just Add Water because I really fucking loved it. And then
the gecko's sneaking as well.
Yeah. You were on Totally Wild? How were you on Totally Wild? You have to update us.
It's because Matt's totally wild himself.
Oof. Wild boy. I'll just say quickly too, I fucking
Tell me when you were on Amazing, and then I'll perk up.
No,
Or
give me the real shit. Who was on Go Go Stop? That's what I want.
Yeah, Go Go. I was trying to remember the name. I wasn't on any children's shows, just to clear that up.
I got to be in the crowd of High Five once because I went to Camry Primary School, Dom, because you probably know where that is. And that's around the corner from the Channel 9 filming studios, and they got all the local public school kids to go there and dance in the crowd as a special excursion day for filming of a High Five episode. That was pretty sweet.
Oh boy. Outsourcing.
Yeah. In some scout camp, you were jumping into a mud pit and they filmed it. Hell yeah. Mud pit.
Oh, you know what would have been so fun? Going on Camp Orange would have been really cool.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
That sort of, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, they did it over several years, and it's just obstacle courses, like a soft wipeout, you know?
Yeah.
Like a kid's version of Survivor would have been so fun to go on.
Yeah, that would have been
rad. It's a bit mean to throw down other kids. That's Lord of the Flies.
Pretty sure the last true temper tantrum that you threw was because Mum and Dad wouldn't let you buy you $120 Cardcaptor set.
Who said this? That was dumb.
It was dumb. That's too funny. Too funny.
Cool.
I just wanted to say too, before I move on to the next slide, that I really liked Jackie Chan Adventures, and I feel so fucking annoyed that he's a CCP shill, and I feel like everything is now coloured with that. Like, just let me have this cool anime. Stop being super pro CCP, bro. So that's a real bummer.
Yeah, I want to talk about that a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot about Jackie Chan, and I'm sure
Jackie Chan Adventures, not the CCP thing.
Oh yeah, well,
I think if you don't know Jackie Chan, we're
probably going to say the same thing. So you go.
I was just going to explain the conceit of the show is that there's like a power for each Chinese zodiac animal. So it fits very much in the conceit of all these collectible shows and superpowers, which is what really appealed to me. Like learning what each animal's power was each episode was really, really exciting to watch.
Yeah, it was really, really cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
There's an awesome video that obviously came out quite a few years ago now on the Every Frame a Painting channel that talked about Jackie Chan's movies and specifically the fight scenes in it, and it was so interesting to watch, like, because obviously like master of his craft in terms of like doing action sequences and you know, that sort of thing, and just makes it very fucking sad. So
Police Story is some cool shit, like ACAB, but
yeah
some good shit.
This is some good shit. We just need to, I don't know, death of the author and all that, who knows. I'll move on to the last. This needed to slide all of its own because it's still Channel 10 content and it is cartoon and it's for kids. It just wasn't on in Cheez TV, and that is, of course, the fucking elephant in the room that we've ignored for so long, and that's The Simpsons.
My favorite anime.
My favorite anime, truly.
Mine too.
Yeah. Because it's funny, we say like all of these things about like, oh, Pokemon was the best, all this sort of thing. I would argue that actually The Simpsons was my favorite of them all. Yeah. And
how have they never done an Evangelion couch gag? I feel like it's overdue.
yeah,
They should just do it. If we can get a King of the Hill fan vid that's like that, then absolutely.
I actually watched that last night. I can't remember why. That video of the King of the Hill Evangelion opening.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about it for some reason.
And like I was never a fan of King of the Hill, but like but I could tell it's just thick with love for that show. Like in that Evangelion ripoff, it's just very smart. You can
King
tell.
of the Hill is quite underrated. The humor is very subtle.
Yeah,
is King of the Hill Hank the propane guy?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never watched that one.
Whoa!
When I was in high school, I was on in the mornings before I went to school. So I used to watch that most mornings. They had the Simpsons one every morning. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
It was...
Yeah, with the Simpsons, I know you're saying that you watched it every single night as a kid. Me too. Unless you're talking about something else. I'm assuming you said you watched it every night with the Simpsons.
Oh, I was saying the reruns in the I used to watch it every week as well, but I used to watch the reruns in the morning before high school.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, you were talking... Okay, no, sorry, yeah, and Reese was talking about The Simpsons, because, yeah, the 6 p.m. Simpsons being on, huge. Like, dinner time in my household was structured around the kids being able to watch The Simpsons at that time and focus on that, because it was, like, a staple. And equally, during school holidays, Fox 8 would just play The Simpsons all day, and as well as it would do Simpsons and Futurama. And that was the first time that I had ever watched Futurama. I remember was during school holidays, and I was watching episodes of The Simpsons reruns, and then this other show, Futurama, came on, and it said Matt Groening, and I was like, oh, it's The Simpsons guy. Maybe this will be funny, and it was. So
yeah, I watched the pilot when they premiered it on 10. I remember that being a huge deal.
Yeah, I remember that as well. Yeah, man, what a time to be alive.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about what will be discussed on the next slide.
Yeah, so this was this was
yeah.
This was a bit of a brain dump of me. I was, and the title says Cheez TV versus Toasted TV, but that's not really what this slide is about, actually, in the end. I just didn't change the title.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it was more just about, like, I remember being upset that Cheez TV was gone and that now it was called Toasted TV and all the hosts were gone and it was all different and all that sort of thing. And I also, possibly because I'd already had my judgment coloured by the fact that I was upset that Cheez TV was done, didn't like any of the new shows that they put on there. They've retained a lot of the original programming, but they added new stuff in. And one of the, I remember, one of the new stuff that they added in was fucking Beyblade, the TV show, and I hated it. I thought it was so fucking stupid. Like,
let it rip, Bianca. Let it rip.
I'm letting it rip on Beyblades.
I'm so glad we both had the exact same experience with Beyblades.
Yeah.
No chance of a review blade.
Oh, I want to do that so badly.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it. Yeah, I really didn't like the Beyblades that they started pumping out, and then consequently I was really like had my nose up at Toasted TV a lot, and I was probably also just getting a bit older and not really in the target market for kids TV anymore, so like that was also I was just moving away from it, but I definitely had this sense that like it was getting worse, and that's like how I was seeing it, which is of course what everybody does when they grow older. They're like, oh, things were better back when I was a kid, kids these days, blah blah blah. But the thing that really struck that home for me was the Disney Channel on Foxtel. I didn't talk about this at all, and it's embedded in this wall of text that I brain dumped shortly before this show. But there was a couple of shows that I saw a lot of but didn't watch because I was well and truly too old by that point, but my younger sister really liked them. And they were Hannah Montana, The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, Wizards of Waverly Place, and iCarly I remember was another one. There were others that I don't remember the names of. And they were all live action was the thing that I remember. My sister did not really watch cartoons at all. She watched all of these live action shows, and they were all American, and they were almost always on the Disney Channel. And
you're like me, Bianca. You just expect, like, the more animated something is, the more interesting it is.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, for sure.
Simple law, you know?
Yeah, and there was, I really, like, because it's two things too. Like, I feel like I had to watch them because, like, it was always like, oh, let your sister watch whatever she wants, you know, she's a little kid, it's fine. So I didn't even want to watch them in the first place. So then I was, like, already resentful that they were even being played, and then I just didn't also like them at all. So I felt like I was just built up all this resentment over time to these kids' TV shows. But the thing that really kind of irked me was, and again, I don't know if this is just me getting older and thinking, oh gosh, those gosh darn kids these days. Lots of the kids on those shows that I listed are awful children. Like, they are exceptionally exceptionally rude. They they frequently, like, ruin the lives of the adults around them and face no consequences for it. And they are brash and, like, frankly just full of their own self-importance. And I get it, it's a kid's show, it's about the kid, like, I get it, but also I thought they were terrible shows. And I remember thinking that at the time, that there was some kid who didn't do their homework, and then their teacher was like, you haven't done your homework, and the kid was like, and then everybody laughed, and I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, what?
It's like
that Henry Danger is a danger to himself and others.
This is like Jake Paul humor, but Jake Paul was literally like one of those Disney Channel kids, like, on those shows. It's like, yeah.
The end credits theme is just merch.
Yeah, yeah. They're all, yes, okay, I'm so glad that people are agreeing with me. They, although iCarly may be a little unfair, because I thought iCarly was funny, but also iCarly was a fucking bitch too. Like, they all were. They were all so uppity and, like, just rude. Really, really, really rude. And I feel like I didn't really get that in the American cartoons, because it's not a thing about, like, American media, because I watched, like, lots of those cartoons that we watched came from America. It's the thing when they stopped making cartoons and started doing live action that I feel like it just got lost in a way. I don't know, and all of a sudden all I could focus on was how fucking rude these kids were and how much I disliked them. Like, just not fun, like, at all. And that's why I say at the end, like, I feel like they just got this big wave of, like, American kids shows got pushed onto Australia. And again, like, I wasn't a kid, I didn't really watch Toasted TV, I didn't really get into it, but, like, I just feel like they all sucked and they were all terrible role models to have for kids.
I think the shows that you're talking about in particular, they're multicam shows, because there's, like, Lizzie McGuire's a single cam show. I think that's good, but these, I know what you're talking about. It's because it's got a very specific
canned laughter,
of multicam. Like, for some reason, the first thing that I think of is someone sitting in a loft on a laptop.
Yes.
That is the
that's iCarly,
multicam thing.
Yeah.
That comes to mind.
Bring back Power Rangers.
Bring back the Power Rangers.
Just any variation. Any one of the 50 variations.
Yeah, Power Rangers get brought back every, like, year or so.
Yeah.
I was always bringing them back.
It's like Scooby-Doo. They just get a movie a year. Yeah. Slash Land Before Time.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, Dom's in chat.
Had a chance to die. Like,
Scooby-Doo lives forever.
And come back. Scooby-Doo is always relevant.
All Scooby-Doo had to do was just change it to Scrappy-Doo, and then it would have died.
Also, along with the other elephant in the room, talking about The Simpsons, the other thing that I watched a lot during my childhood and teenage years was wrestling. A lot of wrestling. Wrestling. If I wasn't watching wrestling on TVs, I was watching wrestling on DVDs.
Not to knock your love of wrestling, but I think that's an elephant in your room. I don't know if that's such a global experience like The Simpsons, you know?
No, I mean, it's like of the same ilk, but just for me.
Sure.
Yeah. I definitely remember that Fox 8 had wrestling on sometimes. Yeah. And this is going to sound incredibly naive, but no, I went to an all-girls school. No one fucking cared about wrestling.
Yeah.
Secondly, and because of that, I didn't actually know if it was real or not, and I didn't know where to go to find that information out. So I would watch it, and I remember thinking, like, holy shit, like, that guy's bleeding. He must have really fucking hurt himself. But then, like, also thinking to myself, there's no way this is real, but not knowing because I just didn't have any frame of reference or anyone, I didn't have any other it just was on Fox 8 sometimes. And I remember seeing a handful of people, because I know sometimes you mention wrestlers' names, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that guy. Like The Edge, I remember him.
Edge. The Edge is the guitarist for YouTube.
Well, same thing. And Rey Mysterio.
Is it the Undertaker
I remember
who now looks like Fraser Crane? Is that him?
Yes.
Yeah, you've seen that meme? Yeah.
I was going to say something about wrestling, but I can't remember. Go on.
I was just going to say him and Rey Mysterio are the two big ones that I remember from that time.
From that era, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still on Fox 8. It's still the only way that you can watch. I mean, it's the official Australian way to watch WWE.
Yeah.
If you want to watch it legally.
Mm.
And they don't update it as soon as the episodes come out, so there's no point in getting their streaming service to watch wrestling, which I found out firsthand.
Love that effort put into streaming services.
But yeah, my parents told me when I was very young that wrestling wasn't real. That didn't deter me from enjoying it at all.
No, that's I can understand the spectacle of it all for sure. Because
Dom, let me send you some videos, and then not you did, B. I'm sure your mind is very open to wrestling. Dom in chat.
Yeah.
I'll send you some videos. The Super Eye Patch Wolf videos about wrestling are so good.
Yeah. That's all I have to say. How good's TV, guys? How great's TV? I fucking love TV.
Well, we're living in a golden age of television. You understand?
Oh yeah.
Right. You know, we're Breaking Bad and throning the games, and well, we've never had it so good.
Yeah. Take me back to 2012, I guess.
I wanted to talk about the Men in Black show that's on Cheez TV as well.
Best theme song of all fucking time.
100%.
I was listening to it before.
Such a bop. Yeah.
Do something with it. But yeah. And I also listened to the Will Smith Men in Black.
That's a bop too. But something about the Men in Black series is just like, they had their own little cool little niche.
I want to watch the cartoon again and maybe do a presentation on that, because for all the comments from the theme song I watched were like, the show is like really ahead of its time, like the writing is better than the movie and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if that's true, but
yeah,
I would like to investigate.
The Men in Black show was really good. I do remember really liking it.
Yeah.
And sorry, just what you're saying there, Reese, even just throwing on the TV and watching whatever is on. I did that once when my internet was out, and I just watched whatever was on the ABC one night, and I had a great time. And that Q&A was not on, which I think contributed a lot to why I had a good time. But then my internet came back on, and then I went back to doing other things. It's like I felt like I needed to be forced into it, and it's like, oh yeah, there's some good stuff on the ABC. But then like I don't watch it. Like I'll just watch Netflix.
Blue is good. Blue is good.
Yeah. Yeah, Blue is supposed to be great.
You watch 10 seconds of Blue and you're like, oh yeah.
It was on in the dentist office when I was waiting to go to the dentist a couple of years ago, and I remember being quite impressed. And I was like, oh, that's why people like this show. I get it.
Yeah, that's it. You just get it in 10 seconds. It's like, okay, that's why they've done well.
Yeah.
Drew Gooden has a video about that phenomenon where you you sort of miss watching live television, having something curated for you.
Yeah.
I wonder how a service would go where it's like, if you have a Netflix account, you can just plug in all this information and curate like an actual TV station. And you can do it for other people and that sort of thing.
It's called an algorithm, Brendan.
An algorithm. No, I'll use
I know it's not the same thing.
And access a data lake and fire up an instance.
Stop. This is my non-work time.
All right. Thank you, Bianca.
No worries. Thank you for indulging me and allowing me to wax lyrical about all of these shows and get that big weight off my chest, a chip off my shoulder about those fucking live action Disney shows.
That's what we do here. Hey.
Yeah.
It really is. Shall I, if I can establish what else we're going to do this week?
Go for it.
Not only are we playing Jack 2 on Thursday, but we're also going to play it on Friday because Bianca will not be around to do review gear like they normally do. So Brendan and I are going to make it a double night of Jack 2 and just sort of make up for lost time in a way. Same time on Friday. Yeah, 7 o'clock Thursday and Friday nights, we're going to be playing through Jack 2. and we'll get through a good chunk of it, I reckon.
Yeah.
And then
I'll also try to most lunchtimes keep going with Alan Wake.
Yeah, that's cool.
As long as I'm not doing other things, because I got stuff to do despite being unemployed at the moment.
There's always stuff to do.
And I'll tackle Medieval again on Sunday. That's a fun game, so I enjoy it. So.
Cool.
And then before we know it, we'll be back to Jedi Academy.
Hey. I humbly submit a video to end everything on. You know, we've been talking so warmly about Beyblade. I've got the perfect clip from one of its PlayStation 1 offshoots.
Okay, all right. Let's do it. I'm gonna play it. I'll do the countdown. Whoops, pause. Go back to the start. All right, 3, 2, 1.
Well.
What?
Well.
I think it's so you know who is winning that exchange.
What?
Well.
We should watch some
Well.
Wow.
Some actual Beyblade.
Fuck. That's wild.
I'll do a follow-up. Maybe I'll just do next week.
Yeah.
Also, Classics of Game is Reese probably recognizes that, but that's like a 100-strong YouTube series of just out of context clips from old games like that.
Sounds like an excellent resource.
That's literally the first one, and there's like 100 more, 200 more
that.
at least.
I love that.
Watch Mojo has a video called Top 10 Beyblade Battle.
Fuck
Hell
yeah, Watch Mojo.
Let it rip.
Oh, I wish that fucking Mrs. Watch Mojo had a channel, had a video about Beyblades, because I need my own woman Mojo channel.
No, you gotta make do with the Cardcaptor Sakura countdown.
Oh fuck! That's it. I'm ending the stream. Thanks everybody. Goodbye.
Bye.